You know, I grew up in Kerry's Road, that's where I spent most of my childhood, and I went to the presentation school. So, you know, it's all this area behind me that I would have grown up as I look out over the Shannon here. My childhood memories of just Limerick City. The Dominican church was a great place, St. Joseph's Church. That's where we went to Mass, or I met my communion confirmation, where we buried our relatives. And then, of course, I did Irish dancing from the age of about 6 or 7. And I danced in Féile Limini, and I danced in which is the Bell Table now, which I danced. I won the Munster champion.
Well, I never knew that.
There. I also I did a small bit of acting at school, which yes.
I'm sure that came in handy.
Yeah, I always had this urge to be entertaining, no matter which way it was I was doing it. Then I was always with Ger. I met Ger when I was 15. Ger lived up the road in Kerry's Road from me. I lived at one end, he lived at the other end. So that's how all that happened.
Did you know each other so from when you were
We knew
children?
kids. He used to say, who was that mad one running around jumping the pillars up and down Kerry's Road with a pixie on me. So that's how long all that goes on. Maureen Walsh was a great agency in the city at the time, and fabulous, beautiful models, did a great job in her day, and asked me, she was starting up an agency, and it was my first fashion show there at 15. And I did very well, but I got all the front of the national papers at the time, and I get on the Daily Mirror in England, big huge photograph of me, a pioneer in a hot pants in the west of Ireland. And I there in a hot pants down the beach, went down on my lunch, and a photographer took it and they got all the English papers.
Wow.
Started to make a few bob, and at that time Shannon was, the Americans were coming in their thousands into Shannon at the time. And we used to do fashion shows there and go from there into the Ardú Rhine and do more fashion shows. So this just when us get the bus out to Shannon, because those days we had no cars, and we'd be running from the bloody bus, and then we get the next bus in and we start modelling the Ardú Rhine. So I got a deposit for a house out of that, would you believe?
Wow.
Nowadays there is tons of opportunities, but there's masses of competition. In my days there was very few opportunities, but once you got them you could run with it because we'd no competition.
Yeah.
So it was
You were the supermodels
we
of
were
Ireland,
the supermodels of
really.
Ireland,
Yeah, of course
really.
you were.
I see all of you young people now with all your visionary ideas, and I look back and I think, God, we were like that. We were like anything that was mod or in, we were in.
You were on
We
it.
were all trying to be part of anything that we could make that was modern or was bringing anything that was forward in the city, as young as we all were. But the boutique was very successful. I travelled a lot, but I brought Monsoon to Ireland, I brought Kelly coats to Ireland, I brought Pepe jeans to Ireland, I brought a bit of Benetton into Ireland for the first time, and then we opened a factory which my husband employed 80 people making husky jackets.
Goodness, I didn't know any of
Yeah.
this.
And that was flying for years. We supplied Dunnes Stores, Pennies, mainly Dunnes. And Dunnes rang up one day and said, we're putting a halt on those jackets because they're not selling. So between one thing and another, we weren't cute enough or smart enough at the time. We put all our eggs in one basket, and the factory then kept draining the shop and draining the shop and draining the shop. And that was the end of the shop.
Yeah.
But I was still doing the modelling on the side. But I suppose in hindsight, when the shop did go and things did go wrong for us, I always had the agency and I was always working at that. But maybe in hindsight, I always believe things happen for a reason. And the agency, then I just focus in on that. And to be honest with you, we haven't looked back where that's concerned. We work all over the country, as you know.
And it's how many years is the agency?
40 years nearly now.
Oh, wow.
I met lots of the fashion icons in my time, but one of the ones I met that was accidental was Bill Clinton here in Limerick.
Yes.
We were standing in a queue, my Lord to mercy, my poor mother, down outside Eason's bookshop, and these 5 guys came behind us, and they were American, big fine looking fellas, and I must say, all from they were mind of Bill Clinton anyway,
they were
the special branch.
yes.
They were really the big long coats, and my mother was, look at those fine looking men. God love us. So we were watching them. So we were in the wrong queue. It's all I could hear because it was 900 queues to get in to see him. We were in the wrong queue. It's all I could hear was, right, another bloody American, So I was kind of ignoring. They were turning around saying hello to me. And my mother, you're very nice. She was meant to be talking to them. I said, you ever shut up, please don't. But anyway, she threw them on us, as I'd say myself. And they turned out to be from the CIA. But anyway, transpires, this big limousine pulls in right outside Rochester's or Debenhams, whatever it was at the time, pulled up and spotted them and started waving like this. And they said, oh, here comes our people, come with us. So my mother and myself walked past everybody, through the crowd, right up underneath where Bill Clinton was.
I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Seeing you, yeah.
I have friends in London saying, I saw you on Sky
on
News.
TV, everyone
So
saw
they
it.
sat down anyway, and out past us comes Bill Clinton up on the stage. And anyway, you all know the rest. He was on, and he came down into the crowd and said, "Geez, Julie, to God,
And
he's
you
not."
shook hands with him or something,
Yeah,
didn't
he's
you?
not coming over here.
Yeah,
So
he did.
over he comes, and my mother and myself are standing there, and I'm going, I don't believe this. We were the first to come down, and the cameras and everything came straight over, and he came at us, and my mother says, "There's Bertie." I nearly died. Bertie was behind him. I thought she was interested.
So never mind the President of the
I know
United States
it
of
is.
America.
I said, like, so I got a big hug. So yeah, a big picture of that at home.
So nice to
yeah.
have that
It
memory
was,
of your
yeah,
mother as
in the
well.
city, yeah. But I had my mother, as you probably know.
Yes,
I'm an
of
only
course you
girl,
do.
and circumstances were very difficult those times. When she passed away, actually, the Concert Hall sent her this most amazing bouquet, because she was always there. Whereas I used to go to every single one of the operas with my mother. I adore opera, and I adored them, and I loved them with her. But these days, I don't go because I get too sad. I can't sit and watch them. But I'll get over that and go back again. But I used to go all the plays and all. I used to go to all of those, and she'd be looking up the papers and dragging out them. We have to go to the bell table. I used to go all the they'll tell you up there. I miss all that. I don't have anyone to go with. You know, anyone around me won't go.
Wasn't it fantastic?
You know,
for
which is
her?
anyway. Anyway, I'll find a pal to go with.
Wasn't
Anyway,
she a
it's not
great
going again.
woman?
She was.
You know?
She was. When you think of the background and the whole lot, they were brilliant people, but they had very little.
And she loved the arts.
Adore the arts, and any bit of sense I have of any art or artists or opera
And culture.
or dancing, it all came from her, you know, which is fantastic.
That's great.
So I'm grateful for that.
Will you ever retire? Can you
I
see
don't
yourself
think I will.
ever?
No, I won't ever give up working. No, I won't. I can't sit still.
No.
No.
You'd be bored.
can't. I couldn't. I just couldn't. I'm working since I was 15 years of age, and I've never stopped, actually. I couldn't stop.
Have you slowed down some bit? I know Cecilia's in the agency. with
Cecile
you
is,
now.
is down from heaven. I don't think the agency would be as successful without her. Asta now helps out a little here and then. She's my daughter-in-law, hopefully. And my son is working, and that's, I beg your pardon, my husband is in it. So we're all contribute. That has just given me such, it has let me do other things that I wanted to do.
All those
The
invitations
TV
to do things.
that I love going to these things now. They weren't there when I was a young one. Now they're all there. You know, Jesus, it was so hard to get, I'm telling you, to get your puss out there. It was really difficult. You see, I never left Limerick, and one wonders at times whether that was a good or bad thing.
Yeah.
I'd maintain at this stage of my life it was the best thing I ever did, was not leaving. I'm never alone in the city. I've always said that. I am never alone. Sorry, I'm getting a bit lonesome. Sorry.
It's okay.
Jesus. Sorry.
Bit of
But, you know,
emotion,
it's
it's okay.
just, you know, sorry, I have to wait a few minutes.
You're okay. Don't take a sip of water.
All my family are here,
Yeah.
I suppose. Anyway,
They
just
are.
everybody. I know everybody in the city, so no matter where I go, I'm never alone, and I think that's very important. I think not to be lonely is great. Not that I ever would be. I have a great family, but it's fantastic to walk around the city, no matter where you go, and someone is related to me somewhere.
Yeah.
There's so many.
That's true, and they'll tell you.
Yeah, and they tell me. I mean, I have family everywhere, absolutely everywhere. I have family because my grandmother had 14 children. And they live in the city. I always remember one of my uncles saying, "Celia, if you ever decide to run for the mayor, we'll vote you in ourselves." There's so many of us.
Hey, watch the space
And
now. I
it's
wouldn't
true.
discount it.
We'll vote you in. There's so many of us, Celia. Anyway, but that's what I find. I find the people, you know, they say that about every city. They don't get behind you, but they do. They don't realise it, but they do.
And have
get
they always
behind
done
you.
that? Like, has the support always been there for you?
When you're young and making mistakes and probably mouthing off the wrong things, which I have done you learn as you get older, you get more confident on your position to speak on anything or speak about something. But definitely, I have mouthed it off there once or twice through my years, and you may get on the wrong side of a few people. But other than that, I think once you have pride in where you come from and who you are and what you are, people respect that and they come alongside with you. You know, and I think that has happened in the sense that I have taken a provincial, modelling agency, and I've made it national, and I think that has gone a long way. I put my own stamp on it. I don't, you know, they come on and they say the models are this and that. I have kind of ignored all that and not listened to all that to make it work. We have our own way of doing things, and we do it our way, and it's working, so I must be doing something right.